Hello darling hearts, it's GAPS coach Emma here, Timeless Cookery. Haven't got a GAPS story for you today specifically, but I have a bit of personal experience to share. And I've woken up this morning in a really bad mood, kind of I'm incensed at some of the information that's coming through. It just drives me nuts. I have a lot of clients who come to me saying I've got UTI infections, constant thrush, UTI infections, kidney issues. I suffered with symphysis pubis dysfunction when I was pregnant, which meant I could not walk. I had to come down the stairs on my bum. I had stabby pains all down my legs, up my back. I also had this feeling right on my pubic bone that it was like kind of dislocated or something. I could hardly walk. It was awful. Lots of thrush when I was growing up and as a teenager in my teens, you know. So, yeah, lots of my clients say they're outrageously itchy downstairs, you know, and they're like, what can we do about it? Dr. Natasha's usual advice is that we use a dairy ferment as a cream. So when you say put cream on it, we don't mean put a pharmaceutical tube of cream on it. We mean use some cream from the cows that you've fermented for 24 hours. And use that topically because it will help to rebalance the flora downstairs, which is, you know, it's that flora, it's your body's flora, biodiverse microbiome that you actually pass on to your child when you give birth vaginally, you know. So people who are born with a cesarean often don't get that initial input of good bacteria. And if the mother's microbiome is damaged, you'll be passing on a damaged microbiome as well to the child. So this is why, you know, ADHD and autism and all that sort of thing is a generational thing. So if a mama has a child with autism or ADHD or whatever, chances are, well, not chances are, the fact is her microbiome is broken. So we need to do this as a family, this kind of healing. So good news is, all of these things I've just mentioned in the description here are interlinked. So vulvodynia, that's pain in the vagina. So when you're having sex, it hurts, or you're dry, or there's outrageous itchiness. And you've tried anti-thrush and antifungals, but nothing seems to be helping. Other symptoms are cystitis, constant urinary tract infections, what feels like an infection, but then when you try and treat it, nothing happens. So what is going on? Well, there's this amazing organisation called the Vulva Pain Foundation, VP Foundation, the VP Foundation, which talks about oxalate overload and going on a low oxalate diet to help with these issues. It's fascinating and it works. Go to my YouTube channel and have a look at an interview I did with Low Ox Grandma. She's an absolute inspiration. She's had 40 years of complete disaster. She had to have a hysterectomy. She's had surgeries, 6 or 7 surgeries to try and help with cystitis and incontinence. So she was wearing granny nappies at the age of 55. Right? Incontinence is when you sneeze and a little bit of pee comes out, or you have a laugh and a little bit of pee comes out, or you cough and a little bit of pee comes out. You've got no control over the pee coming out, you know. Low Ox Grandma, with her granny nappies, age 55, at the age of 66, she discovered the Vulva Pain Foundation and started to practice a low ox diet, age 65, 66. She's 68 now. She's virtually symptom-free. That late in her life, going low oxalate has helped her to almost recover, and she's on a mission. She's on a, you know, she wants to let everyone know, because the youngsters here are suffering unnecessarily. Everyone's suffering unnecessarily. We don't actually have to suffer with these things, believe it or not. And I've just been, you know, if you Google Vulva Pain Foundation, or you mistype it, or you think, what was it, Vulva Pain Society, let's try that, something comes up called the Vulva Pain Society, which I've just had a look at, you know, and it's like, here's some stories, here's what you can do. You know, the people who've talked about recovering in the Vulva Pain Society, which is not the same as a Vulva Pain Foundation, right? I'm saying, yeah, now I'm feeling much better now because I'm taking 50 milligrams of amitriptyline or piline or something, a pharmaceutical, which desensitizes my nerve endings. We don't want to desensitize the nerve endings. We want to stop the nerve endings hurting in the first place. We want to get to the root of the problem, you know. Sex is okay now. It's comfortable because I'm using Instilla gel, which is an anesthetic lubricant. It's like we don't want to anesthetize ourselves, for crying out loud, so that it doesn't hurt. We want to stop the hurting in the first place. And you can do that when you go low ox. So what I'm practicing now is gaps, wearing low ox goggles, basically. I'm looking at it with low ox lens. Everybody needs to know about this. Please like, share, subscribe, you know, not subscribe, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go and watch that video with Low Ox Grandma. And also Sally Kay Norton, who is an oxalate specialist, her book's coming out in December, which is called Toxic Superfoods, because we do it to ourselves, we do, and that's what really hurts, as Radiohead sung so correctly in the 1980s, I think it was, or the 1990s. This woman who was giving her testimonial on the Vulvar Pain Society, which is not what we want the Vulvar Pain Foundation, right? She was saying, the fact that I'm on HRT probably helps because of the estrogen content. It's like she was just listing all the pharmaceutical drugs that she's taking to sort of just overcome the symptoms and not actually getting to the root of the problem. The root of the problem, you see, that Vulvar Pain Society is a big red herring. You can't trust everything you see on the internet, so don't trust me either, and don't believe a word I'm saying. Just go and do your own research. But Vulvar Pain Society is a red herring, and it should be taken down from the internet. It's shocking. What we need to look at is the Vulvar Pain Foundation, the VP Foundation, if you want information on interstitial cystitis and thrush and this kind of non-specific inflammation they're finding when they do investigative surgeries and things, which are all completely unnecessary. What we need to do is stop poisoning ourselves. So I have broken everything down into bite-sized, easy-to-digest pieces so that you can get there quicker, so that you don't have to go and search. And I mean, I highly recommend you do go and do your own research. But if you want help with these things and you're like, I'm desperate, I can't have sex properly, I've got vulvodynia, I've got cystitis, I've got thrush constantly, but even when I take the antifungals, nothing's happening. It's because you're poisoning yourself with oxalates. It's not difficult to not poison yourself, unless you are. We need to admit you're an addict if you're eating chocolate constantly, if you're always eating potatoes, if you're on spinach and almond milk smoothies, if you really like your berries every day. Some berries are very high in oxalates. You know, if you eat kiwis, rhubarb, there's lots of other things that are very high in oxalates. Sweet potatoes, for heaven's sake. You know, people thinking they're eating a balanced, good diet, but they're eating things like sweet potatoes every day, and spinach, especially beet greens, chard is no good for oxalates. And if people say, yeah, but I don't have problems with oxalates, it can manifest in a myriad of ways. Oxalic acid, which is, you know, the calcium oxalate, which is what's in these plants as a natural plant defense, builds up in your system in all sorts of places. It likes to gather around scar tissue. So women who've had lots of babies, for instance, who are high oxalate, the babies will be high oxalate, the mothers are still high oxalate. There's scar tissue where they've been stretching and morphing in the process of childbearing. They're not going to heal properly. They're going to be ending up with problems downstairs, you know, UTIs, and eventually it can manifest in kidney stones with some people, gallstones and any kind of hard little white spots on your skin, on your cheeks, on your arms. I've got one here. Got a little white spot there, can you see it? Don't know if you can see it. Anyway, that's a calcium oxalate spot. It can affect your eyesight, it can affect your hearing, you can get tinnitus, ringing in the ears, because these crystals build up. I'm questioning whether these crystals are actually being vibrated by the electromagnetic frequencies that are out there, and that's why people are experiencing more problems just lately. Who knows? But what I do know is when you do gaps and when you become oxalate aware, these symptoms can lessen. I'm not promising anything, and I'm certainly not using the word cure, okay? This is a journey, and everyone's on their own journey of discovery to claim health, to grab the bull by the horns, take full responsibility. I can guide you and help you, so see me at timelesscookery.com and spread the word. Let people know this is not something we should be suffering with or having to take a whole bunch of pills for. You can use cream, cow's cream, not cream out of a tube, all right? And actually ingesting a lot of fermented dairy really helps as well, because calcium oxalate crystals can come in a physical crystal form, and they can also come in an ionic form where they just rob you of minerals. And we're already so mineral deficient anyway. And if we haven't got the good fats and the right minerals, we can't make our hormones properly, and then we can't be balanced. And it's just a big, horrible, sad state of affairs that we don't actually have to suffer with. So please let everybody know and send them my way, timelesscookery.com, and let me help. All right, lots and lots of love to you all. Be well, all be well.